Broadcast News and Cinematically presents IBC 2023.
Video sponsored by Photo, Bond Studio, BLK Optico Acoustics, Outlet Video, Rent Photo Video.
So I'm Alister Chapman, I'm a Sony ambassador on the Sony booth at IBC, and this is the new Sony Burano camera. If we start at the front, we have an 8.6K sensor. Behind the 8.6K sensor we have Sony's variable ND sensor, so you can control the ND variably. And then for the first time combined with that, we also have IBC, in-body stabilization. So we can stabilize any lens. So a PL lens can be stabilized, or Sony E-mount lens. The lens mount as standard is PL, but the PL mount comes off, and behind the PL mount there is Sony's locking E-mount. It's already there on the camera. We record to, if I spin the camera around, we record to CF Express cards. So this is readily available media, it's not special media. Ideally you want VPG 400 cards there, so they're fast enough, because the camera records XOCN LT internally, and XOCN is Sony's 16-bit RAW codec. So internally you can record 8.6K 16-bit RAW, which is a really fantastic format to work with in post-production. You also have the ability to shoot at other scan modes, so if that's too much for you, there is a scan mode that is still full frame, but that allows you to record at 6K, and then you can also record XAVCI in HD if you need to, or 4K, as well as another new codec that's in this camera, which is XAVC-HI, which is an H.265 codec for 8K. There's two quality levels for that. There's also a long GOP version if you really need to make your files very, very small and compact. You can dual record to both cards at the same time for security. You can cache record, so you have a pre-roll in the camera of up to 30 seconds. The camera can shoot 4K at 120 frames per second, and in 4K at 120 frames per second you still have a 10-second pre-roll. You can also record proxies, and the proxies are recorded onto an SD card. So it's a really powerful camera. The one that we have here, this is configured for a crude type shoot, so the display here is very similar. I spin the Venice around here to the home display on the Venice. We have the same layout, the same controls, so anybody that's used to working with a Venice will find this very familiar. The menus are slightly different, but it still has a very familiar feel to a Venice. And then obviously the camera operator will be on this side, but when this menu is enabled, the overlays that are in the monitor are significantly reduced, so there's less clutter for the camera operator. I can go into the menu here, change all the main menu settings. The menu doesn't show up here, so that the camera operator isn't disturbed by the camera assistant changing things. The other way to configure the camera is to have the LCD mounted on the other side, which is what we have on this camera here, and then you have a magnifier for the viewfinder, and that's then more suited to one-man band and solo shooter operation, and then everything would be controlled from the other side of the camera. And we then have our controls for the variable ND filter, your main menu control here, audio controls are all clustered around here. So it's a really easy camera to use, whether it's for a film style shoot or for a solo shooter.
Can I ask you something? What is that pre-roll thing?
So it's a memory in the camera. So one of the things I use it for, I shoot thunderstorms and lightning, and of course you never know when the lightning's going to strike, so you point the camera in the direction of the storm, you wait for the lightning.
It's a buffer.
Yes, a buffer, and then you press the record button. So you can sit in a nice deck chair with a beer and wait for the lightning, flash of lightning, record, got it, instead of just rolling all the time. Yeah. And we have time-lapse ability, you have time-lapse, interval record, cache record, it's a very capable camera.
Broadcast News and Cinematically presents IBC 2023.
Video sponsored by Photo, Bond Studio, BLK opticoacoustics, outlet video, rent photo video.